All right, everyone, welcome to Invest for Tomorrow here with another video. And to all my first-time viewers and investors, welcome to my channel. And to all my subscribers, welcome back. I'm going to try to make this short and quick as much as possible. I'm going to cram everything in, so stay tuned till the end of this video. There's a lot of information. I'm going to talk about how the EV sector, which I thought was just the EV sector, and I started noticing other things. I looked up a few articles that make sense to me and that can go ahead and go along with this information I'm about to share, that EV stocks were falling, and specifically Chinese ones, due to the fact of the news. For those of you that aren't aware, Kandi Technologies supposedly is fabricating their sales, which Hindenburg is pointing that out, and it did have a toll on the stock. You could see that JD had a toll. You could see that Alibaba had a toll. So that's where I noticed this is not just in the EV sector. Anybody that wants to go ahead and state another ticker symbol, you're more than welcome to. And you can see that Kandi took a big hit here. And then also we have Nio. And if we look up Xpeng, you can see it as well. And as you continue to look these up, you just see them all. They have one thing in common, other than being the EV sector. For the ones that aren't in the EV sector, they are all Chinese stocks. So what's going on with Chinese stocks? Chinese stocks are on the threat all year long that they're going to get delisted. And now the House of Representatives is getting closer than ever to passing the bill. Now there's a catch though. And there's some very interesting stuff here. So JD.com is the most interesting because there's a large institution, and I'm about to talk about it in just a moment, bought shares today. Ark Invest invested into JD.com while all this fear and uncertainty is going on. That is a big signal about some things. And it also ties up with what I saw and realized in these articles. So let's jump over here. So Nio Xpeng and Li Auto stocks are down today, and Kandi is recording revenue it hadn't earned. In the rest of this article, it just shows you how down they were. And then also Hindenburg is stating that Kandi greatly exaggerated its sales over the last year by recording revenue from sales, quote unquote, that were actually transfers to affiliated companies. So it's basically like Kandi is selling to, for example, if you have a company and you have a partnership with another company and you're both of your revenue depend on each other, it's like the revenue is going in a circle. It's like it didn't really go out in sales to outsources or a third party. It's going in sales right within. It's like Kandi's selling from human resources to salesperson, or from salesperson to manager. It's like those positions are all having to do, or human resources to another position. They all have to do with Kandi. It's not like it's salesperson to customer. There's no real customer in between. It's like the revenue is just numbers from within. So there's no real growth. It's basically turning around in a circle the same money that you already have, and then your company isn't really growing, but you're transferring money from here to there, and it looks like something's happening. So it also has the big eyes on them, right? Kandi has its eyes because Hindenburg is putting pressure on them, because Kandi recently raised $100 million from U.S. investors who were relying on those revenue numbers. The allegations can have serious consequences if proven. So nothing's proven yet. This is just accusing, and we need to watch this closely. So then it goes and talks about, the past and Nio, and how Nio, Li Auto, and Xpeng are all pretty decent companies. Like Nio's finances are almost much more solid, and they have real product, and they have real sales, and they're doing pretty well. And then also Nio has an upscale type of vehicle and luxurious vehicles, and also a supercar, and Kandi is small and cheap cars. So Kandi is in big trouble with Hindenburg. Then we also see here a little bit more in detail. Again, it says Hindenburg said that their research has determined that some of the company's reported auto sales are being faked. And it said about 55 of the sales that Kandi has reported over the last 12 months, the company that the shares are, to a company that shares the phone number of Kandi subsidiaries, and that a visit to this customer revealed it is actually part of Kandi. So Hindenburg is really on this, and there's some other issues going on as well where this is putting pressure overall on Kandi. So Kandi is a little bit of a different story. So Kandi has some of the effect on the overall market of Chinese companies because it makes a lot of investors fearful and uncertain. And then now, like, what do we believe? What don't we believe? Like, which one's really doing what it's supposed to do? So it took a toll on the EV sector overall. But now here comes the article on JD.com, which takes a toll on the whole entire Chinese market overall. So Kandi plus this article together on the same day had a toll on most of these companies. So shares of JD.com were sliding alongside a number of Chinese stocks today as investors sold the sector on fears. This is what news does, and also the chart, when you see it really red, it brings fear and uncertainty because of an upcoming vote in the House of Representatives. If the bill gets passed, it could lead to Chinese stocks being delisted from the US exchanges if they don't comply with certain rules. We've been hearing this all year, but now it's coming to the point where the House of Representatives is having an upcoming vote, and if this does get passed, this bill, it could lead to Chinese stocks being delisted if they don't comply with certain rules, right? To stay listed. Now, it talks a little bit about JD and what they are, but here is where this comes. This week, the House of Representatives is expected to approve regulation, it's this week, that would require US listed Chinese companies like JD itself to agree to an annual audit to be reviewed by US regulators, as American companies must do. Chinese companies will have 3 years, emphasis 3 years, to comply with the audits, or they will be kicked off the US exchanges. So I heard that earlier in the year as well. So then it was kind of like brushed off, but now it's coming to the point where the bill is about to be passed. So it's creating uncertainty in the eyes of a lot of investors. A lot of investors are like, oh, okay, this is about to become a reality. So what's going to happen next? Well, a lot of companies that aren't in the same position as Kandi, they're going to have 3 years. So even if they don't comply right now, they have 3 years. We're in the year 2020. This could start now, 2020 counting the first year all the way to the third year, 2023. And if it starts 2021 counting, it's going to be all the way until 2024 for these companies to comply. If not, they get kicked off the US exchanges. I don't think JD is going to want to get kicked off, and many other companies as well. So I personally believe that if they have to comply and they have to follow these audits for the next couple of years, and they want to not get kicked off the US exchanges, there's 2 ways this could go. And this is just me analyzing this, and I would love to see your guys' insight as well. If these companies have to comply and they have fabricated somewhat what we see in the charts, right, all this growth, there might be a slight correction upcoming for the next year or the next coming months or so forth. That's one way this could go. The second thing is they're just going to continue to run. They're going to continue to grow because they don't have to comply until 3 years from now. Well, they have 3 years to comply. So at some point there will be a correction, whether it's in the first year or the second year, if they plan on complying by the third year. If there's no correction on the third year, these guys are just running and rocking and rolling until they tell them, hey, you're kicked off the US exchanges. That's possibly what's going to happen. But I don't think JD is going to get kicked off. So right now, this was on its way down. Well, guess what? Ark Invest jumped in on JD.com today. So some of their Tesla shares were sold, but they have millions of shares, by the way. They bought Tesla like super early. And they sold a few, I guess, to make some capital or to kind of grab some money from there to put it somewhere else. But JD is one of the ones bought here for ARKQ today. JD.com, 31,224 shares. That's what they bought today for ARKQ. Very interesting. So ARKQ or Ark Invest in general is saying, hey, everyone's being fearful. This is a discount. And if they don't comply in 3 years, this has 3 years of growth to run. And if you just go back and look at this, even a year ago, you could see that the IPO started last year in $20 and we're already at $80. And they're just like, we'll just run it up. We're just going to go ahead and see. And I don't think JD has any intentions of getting delisted. If anything, they're going to do everything they can to comply. That's what Ark Invest is probably looking at. Now, here's the next thing. ARKW. This is where they loaded up on shares. So they went ahead and bought today, JD.com, 142,464 shares. That's a total between this one and the previous one, almost 180,000 shares in total while this is going down. Could this continue going down if the fear continues and also leading towards the bill being passed? I can imagine that some of these will start to fall. Overall, the whole Chinese market of stocks, Kandi is in a very particular situation until it gets proven. Right now, it's just something that hasn't been proven yet. Like I highlighted here, if proven, there's just being accused of it. Hindenburg is really well known. People trust what it says sometimes, some people don't, or some people think it's putting pressure on stocks or so forth, or any of that sort. But right now, the whole entire Chinese stocks category is having this uncertainty, because if the House passes the bill, that could lead Chinese stocks to being delisted from the US exchanges if they don't comply with the rules. But Chinese companies will have, again, I emphasize, 3 years to comply with the audits, or they will be kicked off of the US exchanges. That is why I believe that either Ark Invest believes in JD, that they're actually doing things by the compliance and regulations, or if they're not, it's going to take 3 years if there's no Hindenburg research attacking them. I mean, you don't see that Kandi is being bought, right, by Ark Invest. But Ark Invest is taking a stake here at JD.com. We're going to have to watch this closely the next coming days and the next coming weeks. And also, if the bill gets passed. Another thing too, if you guys are first-time viewers or subscribers, I'm going to be following Ark Invest and doing updates on the fact that they're buying more JD.com, because I do want to watch this closely through the fear and uncertainty what Ark Invest is deciding, because they're a large institution and they know what they're doing. They wouldn't be doing it for no reason, especially buying on the way down. So stay tuned for more videos. I hope you guys found this video helpful and informative. Please do so and subscribe. Share this with your friends and community. And don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watch this video. Comment down below your thoughts and share also any other stocks that you're watching or that you notice have the same pattern. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.